Hey guys, happy Tuesday. It's Miss Skiba. So today for reading, we are going to still be continuing talking about our characters. So we remember that the characters are the people or animals in our stories. And we talked yesterday about how authors teach us about the characters in the stories that they're writing about. And they do that by showing the characters actions and thoughts. So, what the characters do and what the characters think. And then we talked about our strategy for this week, which was stopping and thinking after each page about what the character is doing. And today, I'm going to teach you guys something that's really going to help you do that. Have you ever heard anyone say, put yourself in someone else's shoes, or put yourself in my shoes and see how you feel? And have you ever wondered what that meant? Or do you know what that means? Putting yourself in someone else's shoes means that you are going to try and think about how they would be thinking if you were in that situation. So, putting yourself in someone else's shoes, that means you're going to put on their shoes and you're going to think how they would be thinking or feeling, or what would they be doing what would you be doing if you were in that situation? If you were the character in the story doing what the character is doing, how would you think? How would you feel? And what would you do? So after each page, we're going to stop and we're going to think, what is the character doing? What would I be thinking? What would I do if I was the character in the story that I'm reading? So today we're going to be reading Happy Birthday Surprise again. If you were able, what would you be doing? What would you be thinking if you were able? If you put yourself in Abel's shoes and pretended that you were Abel, how would you think and what would you be doing? How would you act? Would you do something different than Abel, or would you do the same thing that Abel did? It's up for you to decide, and it's going to be different for every person because we are all different. And the things that we might do might be different than the things that someone else might do. So it's important to be able to put ourselves in our character's shoes, or think like the character, and try and understand what the character is experiencing in the story. So today we're going right back to Happy Birthday Surprise, and we're going to use this passage to again be thinking about what the characters are doing, or their actions and what they're thinking, but we're going to do this by putting ourselves in their shoes, or pretending that we are the characters and thinking about what we would do if we were in the story. And it's a really good way to understand our characters a little bit more, because we can connect with them, and if we would do the same thing, or if we would do something different than the characters did. So today you guys are going to read Happy Birthday Surprise alone or with someone else, and you're going to pay attention to what the characters are doing, or their actions, and then what they're thinking. And so I want you to imagine, after each page, stop, think about what you might think if you were the character, or what you might do if you were that character, through every event in the story. And I put a reminder here because we have talked a lot about events of a story, and I know that you know that an event is what happens in the story. All of the things that the characters do, those are events. So those can be things like canoeing, rollerblading, riding a bike, planning a birthday party, cooking, cleaning, wrapping a present. All of those things that Abel was doing were events of our story. And I want you to think about what you would do if you were Abel. So if you were Abel and you were getting really frustrated wrapping that present and the bow just wouldn't stay tied, how would you put yourself in Abel's shoes? What would you do if you were Abel and that bow wasn't staying on? Would you keep trying like Abel did? Or would you maybe go get some tape and try and tape it together? How would you solve the problem if you were Abel, if you were in Abel's shoes? That's what that means. So you're going to need a pencil and paper today. And we have a chart here all about events. And so I have listed the events of Happy Birthday Surprise. Abel sneezes while he's dusting. He has trouble putting the bow on the gift. He snaps at his friend Chester. That just means he gets a little upset with his friend Chester. He burns the cake, and then he asks Chester for help. So at each event, I want you to think about what the character was thinking. So for this, you're going to put yourself in the character's shoes, and you're going to think, if I was Abel, what would I be thinking? So for example, Abel sneezed while he was dusting. What do you think that he might be thinking as he's trying to clean, he's running around, he's trying to plan this birthday party and get his house really clean so he's prepared, but the dust is making him sneeze? What is he thinking? So I put myself in Abel's shoes and I try to think, what would I be thinking if I was sneezing while I was dusting and trying to get everything ready? And so I finish the sentence. The character is thinking that the dust is itching his nose, because that's what's happening. The dust is itching his nose while he's cleaning. And so I put myself in Abel's shoes and I thought about what Abel might be thinking. And so I was able to connect with him, and I really understood how he might be thinking and feeling, because he's running around trying to clean and he's dusting, and the dust is just making his nose itch so much. And that's annoying. He was probably a little frustrated. It's when you're trying to get something done and you have a lot to do and something is holding you back from getting it done, that's a little irritating. So I think he's thinking that the dust is really itching his nose. So what we're doing today is we're just thinking, if this event happened to me, what would I think? So something else that happened to Abel was that he has trouble putting the bow on the gift. So the event was that Abel has trouble putting the bow on the gift. And so I put myself in Abel's shoes and I thought, what would I be thinking? And I would be frustrated if I was really rushing around trying to get everything done and nothing was working. I would be frustrated. And I know that that's what I would be thinking because I put myself in Abel's shoes. So I finished the sentence. The character is thinking that he's frustrated, because it's very frustrating to not be able to complete something that you're trying to complete, especially for a friend and especially on a friend's birthday. I know that I would be frustrated, and I also could have added that maybe I would be overwhelmed, or maybe I would be thinking that I have to really rush and get this done and I can't do it perfect, so maybe I'm going to think, I'm just not even going to put the bow on this gift. You can put anything there. If you put yourself in the character's shoes and you think how they would be thinking, you can fill in the chart. So that is it for today. I know that this is kind of hard because it's words on paper and sometimes it's really hard to just connect with the character and understand what they might be going through, because you're thinking, Abel is a mouse. How am I going to connect with a mouse? I'm not a mouse. But the thing is that Abel has thoughts and feelings just like we do. And so he might be a mouse and he might just be a character in a story. But we can totally relate to how Abel is thinking, because we have all done things that have been frustrating or things that we have had to rush through. And so we can really put ourselves in Abel's shoes and understand what he's going through to help us understand the story a little bit more. So you guys are just going to fill out the chart for the rest of these events. So Abel snaps at his friend Chester. That just means he gets a little frustrated with Chester. So have you ever been frustrated with a friend before? And then what were you thinking during that time? And then you're going to fill in what he might be thinking, what Abel might be thinking when he's getting a little bit frustrated with Chester. And then when Abel burns the cake, what would he be thinking? Put yourself in Abel's shoes. If you burned a cake, when you were trying to make a birthday cake for your best friend and you're planning a party, what would you be thinking? Would you be excited that you burned the cake? Or would you maybe be really, really overwhelmed and frustrated? So you guys are going to put yourselves in Abel's shoes, and you're going to stop and you're going to think about what Abel might be thinking. If you were in the story, what would you be thinking? Okay, guys, I can't wait to see how you connect with your character, because that's most important when we're reading, is to be able to put ourselves in the character's shoes. And I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you guys tomorrow.